What is up, guys? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a low waste with dogs video. So I will break this video down into 4 different parts. The first will be food, the second will be toys, the third will be poop, and the fourth will be like an other section. So let's get started. Food, there are 3 alternatives to your traditional bagged food that you get. Oftentimes that can't be recycled and just has to go in the garbage, as it has like multiple layers, and it's just impossible to kind of pull those apart and recycle them properly. So the first option is to buy in bulk. When buying in bulk, although on your end you aren't creating any waste, sometimes when they fill the bins, they'll be filling them with like a plastic bag anyways. So it's almost kind of counterproductive, as even though you're not making the waste is still being created. So just kind of be wary of that if you do decide to try buying your dog's food in bulk. The second is to get a lot of delivery services will do in like just a plain plastic bag that is recyclable or is reusable, that you can send back to the company and they can use it to refill and send back to you or to other customers. So that is also another good option. You can also, within this option, there are a lot of bags at the store that are just purely like cardboard or made of recycled paper. So if you are looking at the store, you can try and find an option like that. And the third is to make your own dog's food. So for the purposes of this video, I decided to actually try and make my own dog's food to see the pros and cons, see how much time it took, and see if it was really possible to try and kind of get everything zero waste, essentially. And to be completely honest, I was not 100% successful. I went to the grocery store and I brought all my little produce bags and I looked up all the recipes, and unfortunately they did not have everything over the counter that I could get in my own containers. I've made a short list of the pros and cons of making your own dog's food. Starting with the cons, the first con is that it did cost a bit of money, but this could also be a pro depending on how much money you're already spending on your dog's food. It does take time. That's another con. It takes time. You have to prepare, think about the food you want to make your dog, go to the store, pick up all the food, cook all the food. So that does take quite a bit of time, as well as research takes a bit of time. Understand what exactly a dog needs in their diet and what my dog needs in their diet. And the last con is storage. I put this as a con, as when you make your dog's food, it needs to be stored in the fridge or the freezer. So if you are short on fridge or freezer space, this could be a problem. So I did put that on the con side. And now moving on to the pros of making your dog's food. The first is that you know what goes into your dog's food. This is so great. You get to know all the food and all the goodness, and you can choose if it's organic or grass-fed or based off of your dietary beliefs. So that's super great. Another pro that comes along with knowing what is in your dog's food is that your dog can eat your scraps. So that creates less food waste, which is a huge problem right now. The third is more of an environmental pro, as you can choose what food you're picking up. So you can choose food that's in season, you can choose local food, you can choose organic food, you can use your reusable produce bags so you're not creating any plastic waste there. You can bring your own containers to the butcher so you're not picking up those little styrofoam things. So you have a lot more control on that side. Another thing within the food category is treats. Treats are super easy to make. They only take a couple minutes, or you can go to a bulk treat section and you can mix and match treats into your own tin. I've actually tried to make my dog's food for the purposes of this video. I made 2 different recipes, and both pretty simple recipes to make, as it only was like steaming vegetables and kind of frying up the meat. The next thing I'm going to talk about is toys. Pet owners, for some reason, myself included, seem to love purchasing toys. I absolutely think it's the cutest thing. You go to the pet store, you find this cute little toy, you're like, oh my gosh, I love it. And then you end up purchasing a toy even though your dog was perfectly happy with the toy that they had. So your dog doesn't need a full bin of toys. And if you are buying toys, make sure that you're buying toys that will last. You can buy hemp toys. I know those are super, they're both good for the environment and they last a super long time. So those are a really good toy to purchase. This is the only toy that Coco has. This is Tort, short for tortellini. Most dogs are perfectly happy kind of with the toys that they have, so it's not a super big deal to only have a few toys. If you do find yourself with like a heaping amount of toys and you're looking to discard of them properly, I know a lot of humane societies will take toys in. Another good thing that you can do with toys is you can repair them. So instead of throwing out those toys that they possibly roughed up or broke open, try and repair them and keep them as long as possible before purchasing a new toy, because to reduce the amount of toys that your dog has reduces the amount of trash. So make sure that you are focusing on repairing and reusing, or you can upcycle toys. So I used to have a ton of stuffed animals as a kid, and my parents have a dog and they're kind of going through and slowly giving my dog some of my old stuffed animals that I used to have. And so that's also a really great idea. So like, use what you have, and your dog will be perfectly happy with a bunch of old or used toys as they would be with a brand new one. Subscription boxes. Please don't get your dog subscription boxes. That is so wasteful, as a lot of the stuff that you get in the subscription box isn't completely useful for you or your dog, or not something that you would use or purchase regularly. They may not like the toys that come in it, and then it just becomes something that gets put to the side, and maybe they like one thing out of a box of 6, and then the same thing happens next month, and it just becomes this big wasteful cycle. So please do not get subscription boxes for your dog or your pet. Just focus on what they really need. The next section is poop. I live in an apartment building, so unfortunately we have to take Coco out for walks instead of just kind of letting her out in the backyard. And when we take her out, we do have to pick up after her. The best option for picking up poop is to get biodegradable poop bags, but make sure that you are being careful and you're doing your research before you purchase these bags, as a lot of companies will kind of greenwash their products and say that they're biodegradable when they're really not. This is because the regulations on these bags are kind of wishy-washy and they're not enforced super strictly. So companies are able to put biodegradable even when they do not biodegrade over a short period of time or at all. So make sure that you're being a little bit more cautious when you are buying those biodegradable bags. When thinking about tossing your poop, there are a couple good options. So obviously you can just toss it in the trash, but sometimes even when you have a biodegradable bag, when the compacting of the trash will prevent oxygen from getting in and having the bag biodegrade. So that is not the best option. You could bring it to a facility that specifically composts. I know that some cities even have like little spots where you can put them in. You could flush it if you have it in a water-soluble bag, and your municipality allows it. Just check on the website into like the sewage municipality and see. Also, you could bury it. Make sure that when you are burying it, you are burying it far from a water source or a water table and far from like a garden. You could also, like, next level, if you're really looking to reduce your waste and kind of repurpose your dog's excrements, you could get like a composting system for your dog's waste, and that will create like a soil for plants and all that kind of stuff. You can get like worm bins. There's a ton on the market. I'll link some down below. as well as I'll link the biodegradable bags that I found that are actually biodegradable. A lot of them I found were on Amazon. Make sure that you're not throwing your biodegradable bags into your own compost, as dog poop does have pathogens that are bad for human health. And for the very last section, the first is that when washing your dog, just try and just wash your dog with water, and if they're really smelly, try just like a simple soap. But your dog does clean itself, so they don't need to be washed too often. For the leashes and collars, if you're buying from new, you can get there's a lot of hemp options out there, which is super great for the environment and are really durable. So that's kind of a good option for those. But if you can possibly try and find secondhand, ask a neighbor, a friend, a family member, somebody who's had a dog, and I'm sure a lot of people have extra leashes laying around and extra collars that your dog would be perfectly happy with. So that is a really great option to stop something from going to the landfill. The next thing is when buying a new brush, try and find something that's bamboo or metal, something that will last and can be recycled or biodegradable. Really the best options for brushes. And when you do brush your dog out, you can compost the hair that you get off of your dog, so that is also a good option to reduce the amount of waste. You can compost it. Bowls. Get either metal or glass, as they're both something that will last really long and something that is recyclable. Again, can reuse things. In my house, we use like the small little glass bowls that came in like a set of like 7, where we just use the really big bowls for like serving, but we don't really have a purpose for the little ones, so we use those for our dog. So we just repurpose those instead of keeping them in a cupboard and not using them ever. So that's a really good option. Or again, you could find them secondhand. Finally, your dog's cage. Again, secondhand is the best option. Giving another life to a dog's cage instead of it going straight to the landfill and not being used. If you are buying from new, again, find something durable and find something that will last the lifetime of your dog. So something that your dog can grow into if you're getting it from a pup. For a bed, you can just repurpose some old pillows. I know Coco really loves, we have these like long-ish pillows that we just don't have room for on our bed or on our pillow couch. So we have just put them on the floor for her and she loves them. So you could just reuse some pillows, make your own. So those are all of my ideas, my tips and tricks. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed watching my low waste with dog. I will leave all of the links to all the information, the recipes, the food, the blogs, all of it down below. So make sure you go check that out if you are interested. If you do have any questions about anything I've done, feel free to send me a message on via Instagram. I will leave the link for that down below as well. Please subscribe to my channel. I would also really appreciate that. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.